While many are looking to cyber warfare as the next big thing in terms of international conflict, the world's navies are, in fact, still incredibly important. Navies provide first defenses against missiles and other attacks, and allow military tech and monitoring to be spread across the globe. It's no wonder then that the world's major powers continue to work on and produce exciting new water-bound craft for their forces. Today, we'll be looking at the 7 most amazing new naval vessels being launched in the near future and sealing the seas today. Let's take a look. 1. USS John F. Kennedy Aircraft Carrier. Christened in December of 2019 but not yet commissioned, the soon-to-be USS John F. Kennedy, presently pre-commissioning Unit Kennedy, will be the United States Navy's next aircraft carrier. Joining the American forces soon, this second ship in the Gerald R. Ford class of carriers was dedicated by former US President Kennedy's daughter Caroline. Miss Kennedy broke a magnum of champagne over its nose at Huntington Ingalls Industries Newport News shipyard in Virginia, where the incredibly large ship is currently being held. The massive carrier costs roughly $11.5 billion and is expected to officially join the Navy, replacing the USS NIMITZ within the next few years. The new carrier is 1,092 feet long and has a 100,000-ton full-load displacement. It can travel at over 30 knots, about 35 miles per hour, which is good for a ship this big, and can accommodate a complement of 4,660 people. It will be able to hold up to 90 aircraft and will be equipped with 4 anti-aircraft missile launchers, 4 M250 caliber machine guns, and 3 Phalanx close-in weapon systems. Impressive? Yes, and not the last planned craft of its kind. The US Navy is intending to commission 3 more Ford-class carriers by the mid-2030s. The USS Enterprise, Doris Miller, and an as-yet unnamed 5th vessel in the class. 2. China's Type 055 destroyer. Anyone who's been following the world's navies will know that China's naval modernization effort is reshaping the landscape of international forces. Today, the Chinese People's Liberation Army Navy has more military ships docked in a single shipyard than some countries have in total. Along with this tremendous building effort comes not just new vessels from existing ship classes, but also, naturally, new and updated craft. One very good example of China's updated naval technology is the brand new Type 055 destroyer Renhai class cruisers, a class of stealth-guided missile destroyers with 1 ship recently commissioned and more currently under construction at Jiangnan Shipyard by Dalian Shipbuilding Industry Company, or DSIC. These destroyers have a dual purpose. They are capable of both area air defense and anti-submarine warfare, which is unprecedented among Chinese surface vessels. The boats are about 590 feet long with a full load displacement of 13,000 tons. They can host a complement of 300 crewmen, and, like the USS Kennedy, they can travel 30 knots or 35 miles per hour. The first mock-ups for this class of ship surfaced in 2014, and the very first ship premiered in 2019 before being commissioned in January of 2020. The first ship in the class is the Nanchang, and 5 more are anticipated to be commissioned in the next decade or so. 3. Virginia-class submarines, now with lasers. In case you thought the future of military water-bound warfare looked boring, think again. The US Navy's Virginia-class submarines, the first of which was commissioned in 2004, are being fitted going forward with high-energy laser weapons powered by the submarine's reactors. The already intimidating subs, which are armed with advanced capability torpedoes and Tomahawk land attack cruise missiles, are still in production, with new models commissioned in early 2020 and almost 20 additional vessels planned. Now, according to an open-source budget document, the American Navy is planning to make them the first submarines ever to carry laser weapons, with 300 to 500 kilowatt high-energy lasers planned for the next built editions of the class. It's not entirely clear yet why the futuristic weapons are being added to the Virginia-class design, but one thing is for certain. The next generation of submarines just got a little cooler and more deadly. 4. Japan's Maya-class guided missile destroyers. Entering service in 2020 and 2021, the Maya-class is a subclass of Japan's existing ATAGO-CLASS destroyers. However, this new pair of destroyers will be equipped with the Aegis combat system produced by Lockheed Martin. The Aegis system is a complex integrated naval weapons system that uses radar technology and powerful computing to connect and deploy a weapon system, anti-aircraft capabilities, a close-in weapon system, and a vertical launch system. Aegis was created for the United States Navy, but is now also in use by the navies of Spain, Norway, Australia, South Korea, and Japan, as well as NATO's forces. The Maya-class destroyers will include the Aegis system, plus new cooperative engagement capability equipment, which makes use of air search sensors, plus updated missiles and an improved propulsion system. At 557 feet and 5 inches long with a 10,250-ton full load displacement, they won't be the largest destroyers ever launched, but they will be formidable and high-tech additions to the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force. 5. Frigates de Taille Intermediary. Literally meaning frigates of intermediate size, Frigates de Taille Intermediary is a French military program announced in 2017. The program lays the groundwork for France to create a new class of frigates to be commissioned within the next several years. The lead ship, which will be renamed the Admiral Ronark, was laid down in October of 2019 and is currently under construction by French defense contractor the Naval Group. The new ships are intended to replace the French Navy's current slate of FAYETTE-CLASS frigates, which are considered insufficiently armed for their position in the fleet, with the Ronark entering service as soon as 2023. The new boats will be relatively small, at 400 feet long with a 5,000-ton full load displacement and room for 125 aboard. However, these new ships will be more heavily armed than their predecessors, with significant anti-aircraft capabilities and anti-submarine equipment plans, plus 8 anti-ship missiles, and Aquilon integrated digital communication system, and the Sentinel system for electronic warfare. The small but mighty frigates will be able to hold one armed helicopter. While they may not measure up to France's Charles de Gaulle aircraft carrier in terms of power, they'll be a welcome addition to France's not insignificant naval forces. 6. Russian stealth frigates. Staying on the topic of frigates, the Russian Navy's newest class of frigates had its lead vessel, the Admiral GORSHKOV, commissioned in 2018. The second in the class, the Kasatonov, is anticipated in 2020, and at least another 6 GORSHKOV-class frigates are expected to follow after, with as many as 15 planned in total. The 443-foot long ships have a 5,400-ton full load displacement and hold a complement of 210 people. They are meant to replace the SOVREMENNY-CLASS destroyers and FRIGAT-class frigates in 4 Russian fleets. Their intended uses include long-range strikes, anti-submarine warfare, and escort missions. The new ship's design was developed by Severnaya PKB, or the Severnaya Design Bureau, a ship designing company based in St. Petersburg. The ships themselves are being built in St. Petersburg at Severnaya Verf Shipyard. Designated Project 22350 in Russia, the first 6 vessels have been officially ordered and are expected by 2025. The new Russian military ships have a number of improvements and new features over older models, including a POLIMENT-REDUT air defense missile system with phased array radar, additional vertical launch systems, and a brand new naval version of the 5P-42 fill-in electro-optic countermeasure system. While the all-new developments on this list are notable, the electro-optic countermeasure system is particularly off the wall. This insane system is meant to disrupt the eyesight of enemies attacking in the night, and makes use of intense strobe-like beams. Volunteers who worked with the Russian developers to test the system not only struggled to aim and fire, but experienced dizziness, disorientation, nausea, and even hallucinations. Not something you want to end up on the receiving end of. 7. Talking Robot Warship. Yes, you heard that right. Last, but certainly not least, we have a ship that sounds straight out of an offbeat Disney movie, a talking robot warship. The US Navy is, at present, developing both a guided missile frigate, the first of its kind, and, even more impressively, 2 large, unmanned surface ships. Broadly speaking, the American military forces, the forces of land, air, and sea across the world, are investing heavily in unmanned craft. The Navy's other upcoming projects include dozens of unmanned submarines and 2 high-altitude unmanned aerial vehicles. However, it's the surface ships we simply have to take a closer look at because they will indeed need to talk. This is not, however, a fanciful feature from imaginative designers. Rather, the voice of these ships is a necessity in order for the unmanned ships to be able to comply with COLREGs, the international regulations for preventing collisions at sea. The set of regulations includes strict guidelines as to how ships can acknowledge and pass each other, and much of the communication must be done verbally. This means that the Navy, in order to be able to run unmanned surface ships, will have to develop artificial intelligence that can recognize common and unusual messages from other ships and respond appropriately. The development of this technology is planned in 3 phases. The first will prove that it's generally feasible. The second phase will work with more nuance, call-ups in other languages, and will add in VHF radio capability, and the third phase will comprise attempting to actually apply lessons from the first 2 phases to build a working system for a robotic warship. The unmanned ships, which will act as scouts and ultimately carry weapons, will take some time and careful research to complete, but the Navy is optimistic that they will be viable and add significantly to the fleet. In fact, they're confident enough in the concept that they've planned to eventually build 10 of the large, robotic, talking warships in the next decade. That will be a sight to see, and a voice to hear. Wonder if they'll get a celebrity to do the voice. That would be cool. And there you have it. Those are the 7 most insane new military ships in service today and launching in the very near future. Which feature are you most excited to see in action? Are there any vessels on this list you don't think will hold water long term? Let us know your thoughts on these new naval developments down in the comments. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button and the bell down below if you want to make sure you never miss out on important new military information like this.